Hello everyone, I'm sorry I haven't been posting for a little while. I wrote on my blog last night that I was hoping to get back into things a little bit this week. I had to take a bit of time off from vlogging and my website because I had an operation just over a week ago, last Friday, which was fine. You know, on the day it was fine, and I had a very, very dear friend look after me that day when I came out of hospital, and had prepared him for it being a really bad recovery period, but it was fine. And the next day, the Saturday, I spent the whole day in bed. I felt terrible. I actually got out of bed at midnight, so I stayed in bed from like midnight till midnight. And the only reason I got up was because I needed to eat. I was that kind of just screwed. And I I was thinking I was getting better on the Sunday and things were okay, and then I had some complications on Monday, so I was in a huge amount of pain, and I was going to work at like midday for a couple of hours because I was in so much pain I wasn't sleeping. And I deal with pain. I have Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, so I'm in 24/7 pain. I use things like oxycodone, diamorphine, and so on a daily basis. Yes, you can do that safely for 6 years and not get addicted, just to point that out. And because I did that, I had to have another procedure done on Thursday to help with a complication I had, which was due to some inflamed bone. And anyone out there who's ever had a bone injury will know there's no pain relief that actually will deal with pain emanating from the bone. So that wasn't easy. And I thought things were going well. And I thought I could maybe start on solid food again because it was a jaw operation. I couldn't eat solids. And I managed to eat solids yesterday, and that was fine. And I kind of forgot that I had my gallbladder removed 3 years ago, which means that I only produce as much bile as my recent diet has kind of allowed. So when you've been living on soup and Complan, which is kind of a protein shake for when you can't eat, when you've been eating that for about a week, your body doesn't produce much bile. So as soon as you eat a proper meal and it hits your digestive tract, your body can't digest it properly. So I was up most of the night being rather unwell, and I've been in a lot of stomach cramps from it. So I'm feeling really wiped, and I thought, no, you've got to get a video done. You've got to get back into it. So what I thought I'd do is I would continue my yellow watercolours series. So sorry for the 2 minutes, 30 seconds of medical detail. I just wanted to get that out there. Please don't send me your best wishes, prayers, and so on, because to be honest, I feel the need to then have to reply to all of you, and it is very sweet when people do that. It is really kind, but I don't think people always realize how little energy you have when you're ill or disabled. So when people are saying things like that, it is really nice, but it puts pressure on people to feel the need to reply. And that actually can mean the difference between eating today or not, because we only have a limited amount of energy per day. And I would just rather not have that additional complication right now. So if you do comment on this video, I might reply immediately. It might take me a week. I don't know right now. So if you remember last time, I went through all these glorious yellows. Let me just check the light's on properly. And I was going through them, and this was kind of inspired by Joe Maskey, who subscribed to me a little while ago. And Joe and I were talking about good lemon yellows, and ironically, I stopped last time because I ran out of yellows about here. And I've now got 6 more yellows because I had my little art haul, which you'll remember. And I've just swatched them out on here. And the first one, I'll go through them all and then I'll explain what I did. So just to explain what I did for those of you who haven't watched the other video, the other lemon watercolor, yellow watercolors video, I actually filmed a video for my channel last Sunday, and I'm not joking, it was virtually incomprehensible. I couldn't say anything. It was just so wiped by pain, it was ridiculous. So what I did, just to explain, is I swatched them all over a line of black pro marker so we can see the opacity. I made green using phthalocyanine blue green shade, which is Winsor blue green shade from Winsor & Newton, and I used a Pyrrole red, which is Winsor red, to make an orange, and that's what I did. So the first cab off the rank today is 348. These are all Winsor & Newton professional watercolours. 348 Lemon Yellow Deep, which is a mineral pigment, single pigment, and it's pigment yellow 159, zirconium praseodymium silicate. I'm really interested in this, and I have been for a while, because praseodymium has some really interesting optical properties. It's a very unusual metal that has some really cool salts. So I thought this might make an interesting yellow, and because it's a silicates have got a tendency to be very hydrophobic. Hydrophobicity for us as painters means granulating. It doesn't want to be in water, so it will clump together. And we can see that just over the black line. You can see where the granulation exists. I didn't use a lot of water when I did this. This is pretty thick, so you can see it's slight translucency to it. It's near to transparent. But because I didn't put much water, there's not much granulation. It's a really beautiful yellow. And Joe, I think this colour would really suit your needs. So try 348 Lemon Yellow Deep Winsor & Newton, Joe. I think this one might actually solve some of your issues. I prefer this to the lemon yellow. I think it's much better. It makes a nice muted green. I could have made this a lot darker, but I tried to make it as pale as I could. It's just slightly muted, very slightly muted, but it's otherwise a nice clear green. And it made quite an interesting slightly granular orange, which I thought was really quite nice. And I could see myself using that for sand because it's got that interesting granulation. So anyone out there who's trying to do sand on a warm day or sand at sunset, I know Lindsay the Frugal Crafter in her En Plein Air postcard series she's been doing recently, with beautiful, beautiful sketches she's done of parts of Maine. She's talked quite a bit about colours for sand, but I would really recommend trying Pyrrole Red with Lemon Yellow Deep from Winsor & Newton. So that's Winsor Red with Lemon Yellow Deep. It's a really interesting mix. Do try that. Next one we have is Winsor Yellow Deep 731. This is a single pigment dye-based paint, which is Pigment Yellow 65, which is Hansa Yellow 65. I think most of us have had that in one form or another. It's usually sold as Hansa Yellow by most companies. And it is a glorious orange. And again, like when I showed you the Naples Yellow in the other video, what the camera's seeing and what I'm seeing are two very different things. This is a really warm, it looks kind of flat and kind of earthy. This is a really warm, bright orange yellow. Slight opacity over the line there, but not much. As one would expect from a very red yellow, you get this really nice muted, almost speckly green. It's not granulated, but I think this shit paper has made it a bit speckly. But this wonderful reddish orange, and I tried doing different things. I tried glazing it a little bit, but you get this mostly lovely orange. But then if you add a bit more red, you get this nice red orange. It's quite interesting. Next one is 086 Cadmium Lemon, which is made from Pigment Yellow 35, Cadmium Zinc Sulfide, single pigment mineral. Really vivid. It looks very much like bismuth yellow, really in your face. Quite opaque. As expected from a lemon, it gives a really nice green. Lovely bit of granulation there. But it also gives a nice slightly muted orange as well. So you might be able to use that for sand. Not sure. I've got three more to show you. First one is Gold Ochre. I've been curious about this for ages, but because it is so similar to Yellow Ochre, I couldn't justify buying it. Gold Ochre is Pigment Yellow 42, which is synthetic yellow iron oxide, so yellow ferric oxide, and that's a synthetic version, whereas Yellow Ochre is usually Pigment Yellow 43, which is the natural version. When you make this painted out, it is quite opaque. You can't really see it because of the light, but it is actually covering that quite thick line. Gorgeous, gorgeous, really, really warm, fantastic colour. And I actually tried swapping. I did a painting twice, once with Yellow Ochre and once with this, just to see what happened. And it's quite interesting. It adds a sunset kind of feel to your painting. It adds an underlying warmth. With blue, you actually get a really pale brown. This is not really a green. It's a really, really faint greenish brown. It's very muddy. But when you add red to it, you get, I did these really dilute on this side of the paper, sorry. You get quite an interesting earthy orange. So I don't think I'd ever use it to make either of those, but it's nice. Next one is Naples Yellow Deep, and I just want to do a comparison with Naples Yellow in a sec. This is single mineral pigment as well, and it's Pigment Brown 24 Chrome Antimony Titanate, which is one of the rutiles. And Naples Yellow Not Deep is a mixture of this with titanium white. So if you wanted to save money and you had titanium white already, you could get this, mix it, and then you've got both this and Naples Yellow for free, basically. Really opaque, gorgeous, gorgeous, dark, warm sand on a beautifully sunny day. That's the kind of colour. you get a muddy brown again with the green, but I think I compared it to a blushing cheek when I said about the orange you get. It's a very pinky orange, but it's nice. And the final one is kind of a discontinued colour in a way. This is 267, which is the old New Gamboge, single pigment dye, pigment yellow 153, nickel dioxide yellow. Now, New Gamboge still exists as 267, but it's a different recipe, and I will put an iCard in now to my video on that. I bought this, I found a half pan of it in my local art store, the old recipe, and the old recipe was really nice. I hate New Gamboge from Winsor & Newton now. I use transparent yellow instead, but this is how it used to look in the good old days when it didn't have that stupid brown tone. Transparent, warm yellow. It's really nice. Makes a nice green. It's slightly earthy, and it makes a really nice orange. You can't get those with New Gamboge as it now stands. And if I can find New Gamboge, I know it's in here. Let's have a quick look. I'm sure I can find it quickly. Here it is. This is New Gamboge 267 as it now stands, which is nickel azo yellow, aka transparent yellow, and a quinacridone red. It's brown, it's muddy, green is muddy, the orange is muddy. I hate it. This is horrible, horrible, horrible. I do recommend, if you want an alternative to it, to just try straight transparent yellow, which does look a bit muddy on here, but that's because I painted it really strong. Single pigment dye, nickel azo yellow. This is a great alternative to Winsor & Newton's New Gamboge, which is shit. And what it boils down to is that the old one, the nickel dioxide, which was lovely, this pigment is no longer manufactured in the kinds of amounts that paint companies need. So they all stopped using it, and different paint companies came up with different alternative New Gamboges. So one company uses this, the transparent yellow quin red combination. Another one uses another combination, but that means pretty much all New Gamboges out there are a mixture of 2, 3, 4 pigments in some cases. And they have a tendency to mud. So if you do find any Winsor & Newton New Gamboge 267 that is pigment yellow 153 nickel dioxide, buy it. I don't care if you're not running out or it's a colour you don't use, buy it. Get it out of the art stores and get it into the hands of artists, because it is a fantastic colour and it is really, really rare. And just to show you the packaging, because it comes in old packaging, if you do see it, it looks like this. So it's quite an old-fashioned packaging for Winsor & Newton. So if you see this, buy it. Tell your art store that this is about 5 years old and they might give you a discount on it. It's always worth a try. Don't tell them it's rare because they'll double the price. But if you get the opportunity, do buy it. And I've got mine sitting on the shelf there. I'm not going to put this in my palettes to use it because it's special. I'm going to hoard it for a while, I think, and I'll use it later. So thank you very much for joining me on this, the part 2 of the yellow watercolours video. I'm going to start tackling the reds and the blues over time, just to do these videos. If you're out there, Joe, try Lemon Yellow Deep from Winsor & Newton. I think you'll like it. Thank you all very much. Good evening.